Ethan. I think you're muted.
That's great. That's nothing changes. We look fancier.
Welcome
but
to
that's all
season
that
4,
matters.
everybody.
Welcome to season 4, everybody. Yeah. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new season of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. Hey, Hunter, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
See, we changed up the intro. I don't know where to even stick the stingers anymore. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new ball game, and it's like for once I feel like we're saying that, and you can actually see a difference. It's like usually it's just like, oh wow, the font's changed, and it's like that's about it. Good job, everybody. See you next year. Whereas this time it's like new music, new look, new everything. We're ready to go. New season time, baby. Videos for March finally happening.
Podcast topics are here.
That's what you think. That's the only thing that hasn't changed. That's the only thing that hasn't. No. But no, welcome to a brand new season of the HGO podcast. If you're new here, welcome on in. Every March is our anniversary. We've been doing this now for 3 whole years, which is crazy. We've never missed an episode, technically. We've missed a week, but we caught up. So we've never missed an episode. So there's 156 episodes of this podcast. And it's like, this is the first time, this is like the first proper refresh since we went to video, which is kind of crazy. That was like Ghost of Tsushima times, so it's been a while. That's crazy. But yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. Announcement. Shall we get the announcements out of the way? Should we just do that? Just do the housekeeping, get the announcements out of the way?
Yeah.
Hit him with it.
Okay, so obviously, new theme. Hello, audio listeners. You now have a theme. Is that weird? I don't know if it's weird or not. You guys actually have something that isn't just us butting in straight away. Don't know if you like it. Let me know. You can contact us. Let us know if you like it. If you don't, we'll sort it out. We'll see how it's going. New visuals, obviously, kind of matches the old podcast cover now. So there you go. Everything's kind of a bit more succinct, a bit more unified. And it was mainly just because I was sick of trying to figure out how to make the text look good. I'm not gonna lie, I was just kind of sick of it. So it's a refresh now. So there's a load of games. Let us know if we want to add more. We can add more. We can do a load of stuff. It's all customizable. We can change the color if we want to. It's very cool. It's cool. I like it. It's a good little refresh. So that's that. Obviously, if you saw Kyle's review, which a lot of you have, because it's like already the most second viewed video on the channel for some reason, which is epic. Thank you for the support on that, by the way.
Thank you.
You'll see there are some new review assets. We have finally, that's the first time since the review assets were made that they've been done. And I've never liked those original assets, but we just made do with them for like 3 years. So they're somewhat, I don't know, they're workable now. That's the thing is they're slightly animated. They've got something to them. There's little lower thirds, little bars and everything. It's good. Yeah. It does the job. So those are there. We're just basically trying to refresh the channel. You've got a new channel art, you've got all your new stuff like that, all that kind of cool stuff. And then the big announcement, the thing that I've spent probably far too long on in the past couple of months, is we have a website. So if you go to hotgamersonly.com, there's a website, and oh my gosh, there's new layouts and everything on the podcast video. People, you're eating good. If you go to hotgamersonly.com, there's a website, and we're not just talking a couple of pages. We're talking a full-on website. There are, you can get access to the latest videos. You can see, you can learn more about the podcast. There's a whole topic here. If you go here like that, look at that. You've got your whole little podcast section. You've got the main page. If you want to find out, about us more, you've got the little crew page. You can go and check out everybody's stuff. There's a load of cool stuff on here. I'm not going to show everything. It's also not this squished. I've realized that the little preview that I've got's a bit squished. It's not this long, I swear. It does look normal on the regular thing. And then the big one, which is the main reason that we did it, is there is now a written counterpart. Thank you to Kyle for going through all of these and making sure that they're all readable. There is now a written article counterpart to every single review that we have done up until this point. And by we, I mean Hunter and then a couple
Mostly
from me
Hunter.
And Kyle. So
predominantly Hunter.
You have genuinely got a whole shebang of, you can read through everything. We've got all the stuff here. Got scores now. We're doing a scoring system on the reviews. Nothing's really changed. It's just we added a number to each of the categories, and I did a 1 out of 5, which is unplayable. So if you see one of those, then that'll be a rare one. And then we're also doing some fun things. I didn't have time to go through the other ones, but we're also doing if there were any reviews that ended up in purgatory where the video never got made, but the scripts were basically finished, like this Life is Strange one, there is now exclusive articles and reviews on the website that you can go and check out. So you can go and finally read my review of Life is Strange True Colors. Spoiler, it was a 5 out of 5. But we've got some stuff like that. We've got plenty of stuff. There's loads of little teasers. There's some couple of Easter eggs you can go and find. Break the website, I dare you. That's all I'll say. That's the only hint I'll give on that one. But there's some fun stuff, and there's links to everything. You can get a link straight to the fantasy draft, which is great. If you've ever wanted to go and check on the fantasy draft, you can just go to hotgamesonly.com, click fantasy draft, and there you are. You can see how Carl's still winning, and me and Hunter are nowhere close. There you go. It's just beautiful.
Oh,
Well,
Absolutely
you
beautiful.
say that.
First
Hunter's
Resident Evil
coming up.
4, and then the world, Ethan. And then the
Exactly.
world.
Yeah,
Can you
but,
believe Tears of the Kingdom is going to score 110 points?
it is, and I can't
Oh,
wait.
baby.
I can't wait.
Uh,
But yeah, so that's the big thing. We have a website. It's going to be frequently updated. There's a whole articles tab. If you want to go read more, you can do on the website. That's hotgamersonly.com. You can also now contact the show directly from there. If you go to hotgamersonly.com, click contact us. You can fill in this form here. Make sure it's on HGO podcast. Leave us your feedback, your thoughts, any questions you have, any thoughts, concerns. If you want to ask us a question about Resident Evil 4 for next week, you can go there. And it's just a really easy way. You don't have to remember any emails or anything like that. You can just send us a message and we'll all see it. And it's pretty fancy and nice like that. So a lot of work went into that. So I hope you guys enjoy. Go and check it out if you have a chance to. And we'll be constantly updating it whenever there's a new video review. There'll be a written article. We're going to, at least I am, going to try and do a couple of articles every month just to add some stuff there that isn't necessarily a video that you can go and check out. If you just want to, if something happens that we don't really feel like talking about on the podcast, go over there and check all that stuff out. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening over there. So please check it out, because this is I feel like this is the first thing that other than like microphones and stuff like that, we've actually spent money on, and also spent a lot of time on it. Like I said, I think I put like 70 odd hours into it all in all.
Yeah, this has definitely been like the biggest outside podcast project we've done.
Oh, 100%. Because this wasn't just a 1 week rebrand thing like usual. We actually did put a lot of, I've been working on stuff in the background since December, I think. So it's been a long time coming. But we're finally here. And there you go. I'm done rambling. That's enough of that. It's there. hotgamersonly.com. That's the big thing. Go on over there. Go check it all out. Leave some comments. Tell us what you think. Do all that jazz. It's very cool. Anyway, what are we doing this week, Hunter? We're finally back. We're back after a week break. What's happening?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Oh, well, a few weeks ago, while assembling that bio page or whatever that you made for us all, you asked us, favorite games and then our favorite consoles or whatever. And I figured we could take that last one a step further and just rank the notable video game consoles as a thing to do on the show.
Ethan, I think you're muted.
Yeah.
I'm muted. I've got the full screens are back. That's great. That's nothing changes. We look fancier.
Welcome
but
to
that's
season
all
4, everybody.
Welcome to season 4, everybody. Yeah. But we got that, and then also I forgot to mention Highlights channel's coming back. Cal's gonna be doing a lot of stuff on there. I'm gonna help him
trying
when I can to try and put up as much stuff as we can.
I am very open to any suggestions from the audience.
Please do. We're going to try and upload a load of stuff, and then hopefully the idea is break everything down, and then even if Kyle can't get around to doing all the titles and thumbnails, at least the stuff's up there and we can just chuck it up whenever and get stuff working. So that's the plan. So if you have any recommendations for that'd be fantastic. But yeah, that's HGO Podcast Highlights, I believe is what the channel's called, or HGO Clips. You can go check that out. But yeah, consoles. So I need to do some wizardry real quick because I haven't changed the thing on the website. But yeah, essentially, we're going to do a tier list. We're going to cause some fights. We're going to break some hearts as we try and rank all of the mainline consoles. I feel like we should specify that we're not going to be too harsh in terms of stuff like Sega. We didn't really grow up with Sega stuff. It's a bit before us in a way, so we're excluding Sega because we don't have enough experience with it, or else we'd just be bashing on Sega fans because we don't know too much about it. We'd just be like, well, Sonic 2 was pretty good, but have we played anything else? Like, we don't want to be doing that, so
Yeah.
that's not too fair. So, let me just... Is this gonna work? Hey, it works! Right, so there you go. You can see we've got some tiers. We've got all the Nintendo consoles, all the PlayStation consoles, and all the Xboxes, and we're going to rank them between S and F. It's going to be as simple as that, and we're going to be switching between it because you don't have to look at that blank tier list the entire time. So, are we going to go in chronological order, Kyle? Is that the plan? You're the head of the
That
timestamps.
was the plan, yeah.
Okay.
So first up would be the NES.
Right. I don't want to start controversial, right? I don't want to start controversial because here's the thing.
Dude, yeah, you do.
You know I do.
Just
Season
do it.
4, season 4. I just want to rip him a new one straight away. I think you've got to put the NES in a decent position because you got to respect the NES. You know, you got to put some cred on that name. You know, it brought back the entire video game industry, but at the same time,
those games aged like milk.
It's almost
games
like
came much further in the years since.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it when we talk about like the N64 and the PS1 in a way, where it's like that first generation when there's a Switch, it's just like you get a lot of jank and it's just like there's some good stuff there. But if you didn't grow up on it, I feel like nostalgia is a massive factor because there are a couple of games where I'm like, oh yeah, I really like Super Mario Bros. 3. I really like that game. And it's like it's good. It's fun. But it's like the original Legend of Zelda never clicked with me. The original Mario Bros. It's like a fun little thing that I play for like 10 minutes and then stop playing immediately. It's like there's some good stuff. Mega Man is like, you know, it's great. You gotta love the Mega Man games.
All 6 of them that were on this console, yeah.
Yeah. You know, but there was a lot of filler. I don't know. I didn't grow up with it too much, so it's like I'm coming in from a completely unbiased perspective.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with it either, you know, because it predates me by several years. Like I had to go back and just kind of like look at the games I thought were interesting. So I'm not super attached to it. And there was never a period of time where I was playing primarily NES games and all of that. And it was just like went back and checked out the Mario games and checked out Zelda, and I don't even think I played all of either of those. Played Castlevania, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, it's really
Tetris
is classic, obviously. But it is one of those ones where it's like
Tetris is on everything, Hunter.
It is.
It's true, but
it deserves
I could tell you the differences between NES Tetris and other Tetris.
Yeah, film critics apparently don't know it exists. It's all fun and games. But you know, I think I feel like the difference is it's like when you look at like say NSO and you've got the NES library and the SNES library. I can say for a fact I've barely touched the NES library. I've messed around with the SNES library, but the NES I'm like, it's not like particularly anything. Like again, they're fine, and it's like respect, but also it's nowhere near Nintendo's best.
No.
In terms of game quality. So I don't know. Where are you guys feeling? I'm feeling like a solid
C.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay,
because it's like right in the middle, you know.
I was gonna say B, but okay. I see how it is. Hang on, let me show the tier list. There you go. I put it in there.
Yes, Ethan's gonna be the generous one this season.
Not for long.
I sincerely doubt that you guys are gonna be more generous with your opinions than I am.
Potentially, you never know. So SNES is next.
SNES is next.
It's a great console.
Comparatively to the previous one, it holds up substantially better. Again, I had to go back and like just check out the things I was interested in, but you know, most of the time when I was doing that, you know, I'd say that the games held up better than the previous consoles counterparts. Like Super Metroid, I only played in 2019, and I still think that game is great.
Well, it's not just that. It's like a step up from tech demo to real. Like I feel like this is why gaming actually started to switch away from the arcade and into a home system, if that makes sense. Where it's like, you know, you had stuff like Mario, you had like the home ports of Donkey Kong, you had like Zelda, which was still kind of very arcade. It's like I don't know where I'm going, and there's a live system, and it's like, hope you don't want to. I hope you want to play the whole game in one go. It's like. The SNES, you start getting, you know, your classic RPGs as well, and it's like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where like the big
Final Fantasy
yeah,
6,
you know,
Final
the
Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Super
mhm,
Mario RPG, Mana series started here.
yeah. It's just like there's a huge and it's like everything was on Nintendo at this point. It's like you're talking about like all the Square stuff. It's like all the Square stuff
yeah,
was on Super Nintendo, and it's like even the stuff Nintendo was creating. It was like there was only one like 2D Mario, but it was the best. Super Mario World is
yeah. It's
like
the
the
best.
best
It's the
one.
best
It's like
2D Mario.
there was only one, but
To
it was
some
the
people,
best one
still.
by a large margin, and it's like it still is great. And that one I have played a lot, and I think it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
then it's like
Yeah.
you've just got so much good stuff. Even like the filler, like, Mario Kart started
Yeah.
everything starts here, F-Zero.
F-Zero.
Metroid, Super Metroid.
Super Metroid, Link to the Past,
Yoshi's
Mega,
Cookie, everyone's
Mega
favorite.
Man
Yoshi's
X.
Cookie.
Mega Man X, everybody's favorite. Yeah, there's so much good stuff on the SNES that it's just like
And honestly, this console aged tremendously well. There are some games I think that show their jank, like the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, for example, but a lot of other stuff just it doesn't feel awkward to go back and play,
No,
Everything
definitely, I agree with
it
that.
all controls like you'd think it would.
Yeah, I agree. So, um, are we all? What are we saying though? Are we saying it's an S or an A?
But my bias is telling me S, but
Hmm.
Hmm. I'll let you
I
go.
think
You Hunter, you
I
can be the
think
decider. You can be the decider. I'll say A.
I'm feeling A too as well. Just as
Well,
far
there you
as
go.
for as good
yeah.
as all that stuff has aged, I think that eventually things did get
There are
better.
better. Yeah, there's still some
Yeah.
good stuff. I agree with that. That's a fair shake. Fair enough. Um, now which one released first? Was it the N64 release first or the PlayStation 1? I think it was.
I put the N64 first.
Okay, then we'll
I'm
do
not sure which one came
Then we'll do
first,
N64. Then
but
buckle up, boys. Get this shit in the fucking garbage. I hate the N64. I genuinely like. The thing. What's the redeeming factor? Well, there's two redeeming factors of the N64, and that is the Legend of Zelda and
Majora's
Rare.
Mask, yeah.
Because here's the thing: Smash Bros. Yeah, Smash Bros. Came out. Smash 64. It's a game, but Smash, no one cared. Smash was cool, but like Melee is where Smash was at, and it was literally like what a
Exactly.
year, 2 years later,
A year
max.
later.
Like, yeah, it's like yeah, we liked Smash 64, but yeah, come on the fuck on, Melee's where it's at, right? And it's like everything else. Mario 64, controversy time. Stick me on the main stage. I want to get shot. Awful video game. I hate Mario 64 with a passion. It's just not a good. There's a good 2 levels at the start, and then it just turns into a tech demo where
Yep.
it's just big jank. I don't care for that game at all, and it's like I didn't grow up with it. So to me, I'm like it's like almost looking in on when you look at like a cult and you're not in it and you're like you guys are all crazy. TikTok clock is not fun. Why are you all like what's like, I don't get
yeah.
it.
Man,
Why'd you all think
man,
this
I
game's
like
good?
Mario 64, and even then, I'd be hard pressed to defend the last 2 levels of that game as far as
They're so bad.
the actual going and collecting stars ones. I think the Bowser level was fine, but
I
The
mean,
whole upper half of the castle is miserable.
you've got to respect what they were doing because they were in there were very few people working on 3D platformers. There's literally, off the top of my head, the only people I can think of was obviously Nintendo with Mario 64, Naughty Dog with Crash Bandicoot, and then Bend with fucking Bubsy. And then it's like, who else? There was like no one else was really trying. And it's like,
yeah,
Bubsy was even fucking more of a tech demo than Mario 64, and Crash Bandicoot was
yeah,
really a 2D
certainly.
platformer that just went in a different direction each level.
That just
It was
looked,
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's like, to me, it's like Rare. Rare saves that console because Ocarina and Majora are good, but Zelda's a constant. Like Zelda is a
yeah,
constant. It's always decent. And Rare, it's just like I don't think I really understand because I wasn't a fan of Nintendo really of how much of a blow losing Rare was to Nintendo. when
Mhm.
you look at the N64 library and you're like, Banjo, Banjo 2, Diddy Kong Racing, DK64, as stupid as it is, sold 6 bajillion copies, you know, Conker's
Yeah.
Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, there's like, you can just keep
GoldenEye.
going.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
GoldenEye, you can just keep going. It was Time Splitters 64?
I don't think that came until later.
Was that GameCube?
I
Whatever.
think so. I think it was.
You know, it was just they were on fire. Rare was genuinely on fire where they were releasing multiple games a year and they were all bangers. And it was like,
Yeah, for
how
sure.
did they do it? And why did
And
Microsoft
like as
buy
far
them and
as
then send
like
them to the
Banjo and
mines?
Kazooie definitely took what Mario 64, the idea that it started and improved on it
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
tremendously.
And then I feel like this is
Um,
the point where you have to start mentioning, like, in terms of like the actual console itself. The controller's dog shit. I hate the
Controller's
N64
so
controller.
stupid, dude.
Like, I would like I play Mario
Uh,
64 on like the All Stars collection or whatever with a regular controller. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I can like live with this. It's fine. Then you go back to the N64 controller and you're like, who committed this war crime? Like, why is it
You
so
see, the
like
problem with my life is that I grew up playing with the N64 controller. So trying to play a modern or a ported version of like any of these N64 games breaks my brain for a minute because I'm always used to the one stick and the C buttons
Oh.
and never touching the
it's just like
D-pad.
it's just like the three handles and everything like that. I'm just like, it's so
Why does it have 3 handles?
well, I understand from their point of view. It's like, well, you want a handle for if you're using the D-pad, and you want a
People
handle if
have
you're
2
using
hands,
the other ones.
Nintendo.
Yeah, it's just very and then you just end up with games. It's like as good as GoldenEye was. You still then have to think that you're sitting there with the new fucking C buttons, like it's the like I'm like, oh god, like make
C
it
buttons.
stop, make it stop.
Oh
I
man.
hate that controller with a passion. There are so many great games on the N64, but I do feel like it's heavily overrated. I don't know if it's because when I grew up and like I started learning about Nintendo more, it was very much when I was in like speedrunning scene. So to me, I was very much into like PlayStation speedruns back because that's what I grew up with. And then when I realized that they got kind of shafted because every Nintendo 64 and GameCube game under the sun had to get a spot instead because that's where
Yeah.
the nostalgia was, especially in America. Because I don't think people really understand that, especially in like the UK. PlayStation and Xbox were like until like the Wii and the Wii and the Switch are like outliers. It's like no one really had a GameCube or an N64 in the UK. I knew one person that had a GameCube. That the one person,
That's crazy.
and I knew literally everybody had either an original Xbox or more importantly, everybody had like a PS2. Everybody had a PS2.
Yeah.
And it was just like, so to me, when I get on the internet for the first time and go over to Twitch and go, oh, what's this speedrunning thing? And all I see is Mario 64, Mario 64, Mario 64, Ocarina of Time. I'm like, what? Like, what was this? It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Where's the Bandicoot?
Where's the
Not even that. I'm just
Bandicoot?
like,
Yeah.
where's anything that isn't Ocarina of
Where's
Time?
anything?
Yeah, like, this is crazy. But it's still a great console. I'd put it in B.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, like if this was like ranking them as far as importance to my own tastes, this would be much higher than where it's gonna go as far as because like I have so many random vivid memories of things I was doing with the N64 in my youth that I'd be hard pressed to say that for all its faults that it didn't stick with me. But B is respectable.
Well, I'm just thinking it's like SNES, absolute classic.
Yeah.
N64, war crime controller knocks it down. Like, that's like where I'm standing on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still think it's a great console and I have a lot of spite towards it, but I still respect that, a lot of it was because, again, new territory. We're talking about the NES, right? It's like new territory. A lot of this 3D stuff was brand new. And the fact that it's like, when you think about it, that within 3 years they were making games like Banjo is really
Mhm.
impressive. And especially when they had such fierce competition from Sony at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's talk about that. PS1. This is where I try and not be nostalgic and hold my thing, like hold my nostalgia accountable, Hunter. But
Yeah. Oh. The
There's
PS1
a-
was great too, man. Like,
Yeah.
for what they were at the time, these consoles were good. You know, it's just looking back, the transition to 3D is a little messy when you didn't grow up with it. Is all.
I just think
But, like,
what a weird, like, an accomplishment it was to have an industry that was run by two people and to just, well, two companies, not two people. Yeah, it was just me. It's just Miyamoto and Mr. Sega, dude. Sega Sammy over there.
Mr.
Sega
Sega.
Sammy. Yeah.
But the fact that PlayStation just kind of rolled on in and was like, "Hello, my industry now," and then took Square and
Yeah.
everybody
Hippity
away, just
hoppity,
like,
this is my property.
is
Yeah.
really impressive. And it's just like the PS1 library is, we don't have Kane here to shill for it, right? But it's like the PS1
Yeah.
library,
It's really freaking good.
and it's a great example of counter programming, which I don't really think you see that often anymore. Where it's like, if you look at current exclusives, it's like, yeah, Sony has like God of War and Horizon and stuff like that, but when you look at Xbox, they don't have like their Horizon, their God of War. They have their Halo and they have their Forza or whatever. And it's like, you've got like Forza and Gran Turismo, but you don't really have, like, you know, back in the day it was like Banjo,
Yeah.
Spyro, fight, Crash, Mario, fight. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
you counter programmed everybody at every step of the way, and it's like the PS1 really fought tooth and nail, you know, like releasing Crash at this, like, in '96, getting that as a trilogy, working with Universal with that. They didn't even own the IP. It was just like working with Universal on that, working with Square to make Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 is like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
crazy. All the other stuff,
Metal Gear
like,
Solid.
yeah, Chrono Cross. Well, that was PS1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Chrono Cross was the PS1.
You know,
Which,
and then Insomniac. So many big companies that we now know for like a load of stuff just stuck in this era as well. Like, you know, obviously Naughty Dog and Insomniac were making stuff beforehand, but Spyro trilogy. Spyro's. Sorry, Mario 64. And Spyro trilogy is fucking way better than Mario 64.
Spyro's so good, dude.
And I know it came out years later, and they basically went, "What if we did a collectathon?" But hear me out. What if it was an actual game that had an actual world and we built on it instead of just squares? Like, can we think about that for a second?
Instead
That's a
of just
crazy concept.
squares. Yeah.
And Metal Gear, like Metal Gear,
Yeah,
dude.
Metal Gear.
It's
Metal
just
Gear's
like this
great.
console has Metal
That
Gear
does-
Solid on it.
Yeah, it
It's
has
Resident
Metal Gear
Evil,
Solid, which basically set Resident Evil as well, set the template for
Castlevania,
eventually
Symphony of the
what they
Night.
would have all of their exclusives be trying to do later in life.
Yeah.
But,
And it's like,
And of course, it
yeah.
also gave us Ape Escape and the DualShock,
yeah.
DualShock.
dual analog sticks.
Mm-hmm.
It's
One
crazy
thing
that
I'll
the
always-
dual.
yeah.
It's funny that the analog stick thing. It didn't even take the rest of the console cycle for someone to be like, "Yeah, we need two of these."
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, yeah. But no, I like it. It's just, it's hard, right? Because at the same time, if you grew up with the N64, then you could say that, I don't know whether to say it's on a level playing field or slightly up, just because of third party, and that's the only reason. Is because there's great N64 games, but like
They're all
Swear-
first party pretty
it's
much.
Konami, Square, literally everybody just started showing up and were like, "Hey, everybody, let's make some of our best games of all time and just dump them on out here."
As far as the two of them are concerned, too, I feel like in a way it almost depends on what you were using your system for. Like,
Yeah.
I could definitely see the argument that the PS1 was definitely a better thing to own for people who liked playing games, you know, on their own by themselves.
Mhm.
A lot of really thorough single player experiences, whereas Nintendo in the N64 had loads of party games like the Mario Party, the
Mario Kart 64.
Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also
again,
didn't help the
CTR,
PS1. You had to
stuff.
buy a
CTR
boomerang
Crash
to
Bash
play
onto-
4-player.
Everybody loves Crash Bash Hunter. Don't forget, the greatest game of all time.
Yeah, but you could but without your little
Kong.
like Kyle just said, the boomerang thing, you were stuck playing two people together. But
Where are you saying? Controversial.
I'd say
PS1,
A.
but-
I'd say A as well, but that's just
Yeah.
Hunter. You can, if you want to shoot
I
us
mean-
down, you can shoot us down.
Nah. Well, like I could see it being in B, but also I definitely understand the argument for A a lot. So it's like, you know,
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I'm absolutely cool with A thinking about
Hey, it is.
where it
Where we
is
put
now.
between SNES and PlayStation,
Uh
I still think SNES above.
yeah, I think
I do
SNES
too.
aged better
Oh,
as
100%.
far as
100%.
the games.
Well, here's
Trying to
the
go
thing
back to them.
is when Square remakes SNES stuff, they made a whole new engine to just make pretty SNES games. Whereas when we go and remake a
True.
PS1 game, we go and build it
We
from
have
the
to.
ground up with new engines for for now, like what they would look like on like nowadays. We don't
Yeah,
go back and
Yeah,
go,
we
let's
go
make a
back
polygon.
and make them run like dog
Let's
shit.
go make a shiny polygonal game. You know that doesn't happen. You've not got HD 3D over there with like
HD 3.
Crash Bandicoot still made like out of a triangle, like a Cheeto, oh, a Dorito even. Jeez, I'm getting the same thing. Anyway, next up, PS2 release
Is
first. Oh, have you got the
Oh, I
cube
put the
first?
GameCube next.
Okay, we'll go GameCube
Basically,
then.
from here on, I was just going Nintendo,
Nintendo,
Sony,
PlayStation. Yeah.
Xbox.
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll go with GameCube then. My opinion on the Nintendo GameCube
It has a
is
handle.
the games that
It sure did.
released. It had some amazing games on it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that all of the third-party ones then moved to PlayStation 2 within like 6 to 12 months afterwards. Like, you know, it's like
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
certainly.
Yeah.
it's like you could literally be like, hey, the like I saw someone tweet out the other day where they're like, hey, the two highest rated games of this year so far are both GameCube games, and I'm like, yeah, because Resident Evil 4 was technically a GameCube game for a good 6
Yeah,
8
it was a
months.
GameCube game first. It's where I first played it. It's crazy. It had the stupid like 2 disc thing that Metal Gear Solid does, where you play like the ending couple hours of the game on a second disc. It's
Oh, God.
hilarious. Yeah,
It's
uh,
like I say, it's got Melee, you know,
Melee
great,
for sure.
great game.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion.
That
It
was a launch
has
title.
that was a launch title.
It has
It
4
had
Mario parties.
4 Mario Parties, Metroid
Mario
Prime.
Kart,
Metroid
Mario Kart
Prime.
Double
I didn't
Dash.
play it when it came out, but if I had played it, back in the day, I would have loved Metroid Prime.
Mm.
Mm.
It's
Um,
it's an interesting console because I feel like there's a lot of nostalgia for it right now. So I feel like
Yeah.
people put it higher than I think it actually is,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Because there are some great games, but also Sunshine is the weakest 3D Mario.
God, Sunshine's awful.
And it's like, you know, there are games like was Pikmin was GameCube, right? Where it's like
Pikmin 1 and 2.
you've got 2 great Pikmin games, but also most people like Pikmin 3 the most anyway. So it's like it's not even like that was like the peak of Pikmin.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
people like Luigi's Mansion's great, and I think Luigi's Mansion 1 is the best Luigi's Mansion. But also that's not much of a contest, is it really? Like Luigi's Mansion 3 has Guigi and takes 6 million years to finish, so I didn't bother. And it's like Luigi's Mansion's like short and sweet and pretty great. And you know, there's some great ports. You know, you've got like the Resident Evil, you've got both 4
Yeah,
and
the Resident
1.
Evil remake.
Um,
It was great.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid, Twin
Twin
Snakes.
Snakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some good stuff.
You know, PS1 games.
Soul
people-
Calibur
yeah.
2 was my favorite version of that game because Link was fantastic in that game.
And it
Yeah.
had like I say, it had stuff, but
I
as
feel
a
like it didn't have
console-
enough stuff, you know?
Is
also
it
as a
Enough
console, it
stuff to
did
justify it over its competitors.
mini CDs were stupid. Let's
Yeah,
also say that the CDs were stupid,
that was
and the
whack.
controller, people like the controller. I think the controller's garbage, but that's just because I'm a Nintendo hater apparently. But people like that controller, so I'll ignore that because I think most people universally
that
agree that the
controller.
N64 controller is garbage. So
Yeah.
I'll allow it. So I don't know where to put it really, because like I feel when I think of the GameCube, where a lot of people have nostalgia, I kind of feel indifferent towards the GameCube. Really,
It's hard for me because I didn't
Yeah.
really have this one as things were coming out, and even
Mm.
then I didn't have a lot for it. Like I'm pretty sure we only had the GameCube for like a year and maybe a year and a half before we ended up getting a Wii. Essentially, the story goes my brother borrowed it from his friend for an extended period of time, and then he gave it back to his friend as like a birthday or graduation present. I don't remember what
funny.
the
That's
situation
funny.
was, but but like at the time, my experience with the console was like Soul Calibur. There was this Ninja Turtles game that was all right. Wave
Yeah.
Race, Blue Storm, which I didn't think not the kind of thing I think I would like a lot of the time, but it was all right. Um,
I think it, like I say, it's an interesting one, right? I don't like. Is it better? Like, I think also the problem with it is the Wii was after it, and not only was the Wii, but then also it
Hmm.
was like we have a GameCube in, and as we get to backwards compatibility being like a kind of benefit of the console in a way, it's almost
yeah,
like you
yeah, like there were
know.
definitely GameCube games that I was using the Wii to play them after I got the Wii. Like I forget what I played
I don't
that
want to say
way
D because I feel
specifically,
like that's
but
a war crime and people will hunt us down. But I'm thinking
uh,
C
Think
personally.
so?
Yeah.
hmm,
Well, well, here's the thing: is like if we're moving GameCube to B, then N64 deserves to be an A because I don't think they're the same quality. I think the N64 in terms of games
Hmm.
was way better.
hmm,
Because here's the thing: the two GameCube Zeldas I don't think are as interesting as the two N64 Zeldas. The Mario parties, I don't. I like the original trilogy of Mario parties more. Well, I like all of the Mario parties on the GameCube as well. But it's like if you've got a Mario Party, you've got a Mario Party. And Mario Party 2 has
yeah,
Humping
yeah,
Toad in a pirate ship, so that's an instant win.
yeah, yeah, and like I guess
It's hard.
You
It's
hear more
hard.
people talk about F-Zero for the GameCube. Metroid skipped the
I'm
N64.
happy to put it in B.
Like
I'm
it's
happy
a
to put it in B
I
personally.
mean,
Yeah.
for what you're
But
saying with my own experiences, I guess C does make sense as far as compared to because I liked the N64 more or I'm more attached to
But
that
I also
one.
do want to say it does have some great games where it's like they did help with
Yeah, it
Resident Evil
does.
4,
Like,
even if it did get moved over. So I don't think we should
Mhm.
knock it for that. I feel like I'm being a slight bit too harsh.
hmm,
I think B behind N64 is fair.
yeah.
Okay, B it is. Next up is the PS2.
The PS2.
And I'm just going to move that up to S real quick and then we'll discuss and come back. Okay,
Yeah,
right, cool.
there's not really an argument for it on my end. It's the most important
PS2
one
is the
for my
one
tastes.
of the best consoles of all time. And this is
Legit.
even if we don't include the fact that it has a PS1 built into the fucker, so that you can go and then play the entire library of the PS1 while you're waiting for the next great PS2 game. But it's like
Has a
PS2
DVD
has a
player, a
DVD
CD
player in it.
player.
PS2
Like at the
has
time, it was just a
games.
cheap DVD player
People
you
didn't
could
have
buy.
DVD players, they had PS2s. That's what they had.
Yeah.
People
Exactly.
just bought them because it was the cheapest available DVD player on the market. So people just bought it and got a console at the same time. And the games, it's like so many great games.
All of
Everyone
the
was firing on
games.
all
So
cylinders.
many, yeah, man. For like for my own tastes in games, like the PS2 is the most important. Like Devil May Cry, two of the Metal Gear Solids, Silent Hill 2, uh, so on.
Mhm.
Final Fantasy 10.
Then
Dude,
you had a
and
This is
then
back.
boatload of.
They had the Mortal Kombat games that I liked.
and then think of like what it did for Sony. God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter.
Mhm.
Um we didn't mention it on Twitter on PS1 because there was Twisted Metal on PS1, but obviously Twisted Metal huge on PS2 as well. You've got Gran Turismo. I feel like it was great on PS1, but PS2 is where people started properly going like that's when it really started to become like premier kind of racing franchise. And it's like
Mhm.
so much good stuff on there. It's
I
like
don't care about Grand Theft Auto, but the
Grand
general
Theft
public
Auto,
certainly did.
Yeah.
very important. It had Resident Evil 4. You just had to wait like 6 months.
Eventually, yeah.
You know, it's got so much stuff, and it's like, it just kind of became the de facto home of things. Again, it was the third party hub,
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
exclusives that got thrown away. For example, we'll talk about the Xbox, but it was like it had some great idea, like Psychonauts, but then they decided to stop funding Psychonauts, so it came to PS2. So it's like they had some good stuff, but it's like PS2 just had everything, man. It's just like,
Mhm.
and I feel like there was plenty of filler, there was plenty of garbage, but that's just because so many people owned it, and it's like you can guarantee, you can look at
Well,
my
yeah, but
childhood
there's
library
filler
of the
and
PS2
garbage.
and your library. There'll be similarities, but there'll be games that you haven't fucking heard of that's on my list, and same for you because there was so much on the
Yeah.
PS2.
Yeah, the library was just so eclectic that even like as far as if you cut out the filler, it still meant different things to different people. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people associate it with like Jack and Sly and
hmm
Ratchet and all that, and then
I went through the whole
you know,
generation without ever playing Jack. I played Ratchet and
yeah.
Sly. I never played Jack ever. Ape Escape 2, dude. Ape Escape 2. The monkeys just get better. And 3. I think 3 was also a PS2 game. So yeah, it's like
I think so.
Oh man.
2 Ape Escape. Incredible. Crash and Spyro died on those consoles. That's epic. Think about that for a second.
R.I.P. But at least it gave
Rest in
us Twin
pieces.
Sanity and Tag Team Racing.
Oh, hell yeah. But it's like, I don't know. It's like
uh,
PS2 to me is like where kind of quote unquote modern gaming. I know it's a really old console now, but like the kind of ethos that we're in now is very much started in the PS2, where you look at franchises that are still very much alive and kicking that were on PS2, and you got the
Mhm.
start of. Unfortunately, Call of Duty started on the PS2. FIFA
yeah.
that's where FIFA became huge. Was started on PS2. Really, like obviously there's just so much good stuff, and it's a DVD player, and it plays all of
Yeah.
PS1, and it's just like, and the controller was very good. It's like
Yeah.
uh, there's no way that it isn't S tier, dude. There's no way that it isn't.
Undoubtedly.
For real.
Fucking godly console. You gotta love it. Now Xbox has games.
Who among us owned an Xbox growing up?
No,
Because I
Nope.
didn't.
no. I knew a couple
Go
of people
team.
who owned an Xbox. And I think the thing with the Xbox is it was a good like it had more third party than the GameCube, like, and it ran stuff better, but also it's like you got it for Halo. That's what you
Yeah.
did, was you got it for Halo 1 and 2, right? Was 2 a 360 game or Xbox?
I think 2 is still just
It was
the
still original Xbox,
Xbox.
right? I think. Um, in a similar way that God of War 2 was still a PlayStation 2
Yeah.
game. But like, man, it's like from a first try perspective, I think it was like, it was fine. Like they could have very easily
Yeah.
have gone out after one. To be honest, the 360 was a much more important console. Um, like genuinely, if someone put me in a hostage situation and was like, quickly list 10 Xbox exclusives or you'll die, I'll be like, can you limit it to 2 because I'm kind of fucked here, dude. Like genuinely.
I think you could stretch that across Xbox's entire output, and I would still
I can say
not be
like
able to
Halo
do it.
1 and 2, they had like that Voodoo Vince. The only reason I know that is because they kept Voodoo Vince and scrapped Psychonauts, which is a very hilarious thing
Stubbs the
now that they
zombie.
own, yeah, Stubbs the Zombie. They own Double Fine now, and they're just like, we cancelled your game originally. That's funny, right? And then we picked you up to save the sequel to that. That's funny. Quirky Xbox. Um, like I say, it was like, I guess the only big thing that it did have, and you got to give it credit for, was the console. It kind of started online properly because Xbox
Yeah.
Live really started on the Xbox, like the original Xbox, and that's why, because PS2 had
Yeah.
online, but it was garbo. It was like
Yeah.
sign into thingies like someone GameSpy servers so you can play Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it's like just very like there was no uniformity to it. There was no
Yeah.
usernames. There was no
I
UI
do
overall hub.
remember the one of the things that on the PS2 and it's weird online and lack of thereof of being good SOCOM was something that one of my older brothers picked up and even had
Oh
like a
yeah.
little headset for.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I was like, as a kid, like, what's this for?
But back in the day, I never really understood. I was like, why in the 360 era did so much DLC, like Call of Duty? Why did it come a month early to Xbox? So you're like, that's just so random. But when you think about the idea of people who wanted to play online games bought an Xbox and went to a 360 straight away because that's where you kind of went for that kind of thing. They did really kind of
Yeah.
pioneer modern online gaming. So that's kind of one thing going for it. And it also had Voodoo Vins, so say what you want. I wouldn't be as harsh to say D, but I think it would be a C. And the only reason I
Yeah,
say
I
C
think,
is because of online and also Halo
yeah.
2.
Mm.
Because
C
Halo
makes
2 was
sense to me
because
as
Bungie
someone
was
who didn't actually ever
Bungie
own it.
was cracked, to be
But
fair.
yeah.
So hey, there you go. What's next?
Next is the Wii.
Oh boy. Is this where I say that I never owned a Wii, and then we all laugh because you finally found the one person on the planet that didn't own a Wii? Like, that's...
He says with like 3 Wii games behind him on his shelf.
Because I own a Wii U.
I mean,
Yeah.
I owned a Wii and
And
I barely had more than
those
3
three
Wii
games
games.
are Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, and Xenoblade. Those are the 3 games that I own for the Wii.
Oh,
Here's the
And
thing, right?
you only have Xenoblade like symbolically too. You didn't even play
Well, I own
that.
Xenoblade for 3. I own the 3DS version as well. I own all the versions of Xenoblade 1.
yeah, he technically has a more complete collection than me.
Technically. I have the bad versions. But no. The thing with the Wii is I didn't have one, but everybody I knew had a Wii. It was very much like every family had a Wii. You had Wii Sports, you had Mario Kart Wii, and you had all these kind of things. There were some great games. Now the real question is how much of it was a gimmick? Because it's a very important console, but also like there's a nostalgia for the GameCube. Was like say Resident Evil 4, Smash Bros. Melee. When you look at Nintendo's output on the Wii, there's some good stuff, but it was also kind of the time when Nintendo did a Valve where they just hold the line and just chucked some random shit out to appease people every now and again, It's like there was
Yeah,
one
I feel
Zelda,
like
technically two, but
stretched
one Zelda.
across the cycle of the console, the actual things worth playing was stretched pretty thin.
I mean, there was some great stuff. Mario Galaxy,
Yeah,
fantastic, and
Mario
two,
Galaxy,
good stuff.
Smash Bros.
Mario
Brawl
Kart
for
Wii
all
is
the
great.
guff
Brawl,
it gets.
yeah.
I really liked Brawl still, so
Mm-hmm.
you know.
There's some
Um,
good stuff, and say what you want about Wii Sports Resort, they were great party games, stuff like that. This was where Mario Party started to die, should I say? So that's
Tragically.
cringe.
It gave us the
technically,
car in Mario
It
Party
gave us the
9.
car, so I think it gets knocked down a tier for just that alone. So we're looking at A and below because of the car in Mario Party.
However,
um,
I'd also like to offer this.
Yep.
The backwards compatibility, not just with GameCube games, but with the Wii Shop channel,
Mm.
accessed from NES up through N64, including Genesis, some Neo Geo games, even just like some obscure stuff. The backlog you could get on this console was absolutely insane,
Yeah,
and it
it's
got
crazy.
updated weekly.
It is crazy. I don't deny that. I'm just the real argument here for me was between S and A tier. Was I was thinking personally, but it's just like because it's iconic in a way. The Wii
mhm.
is. Um, but like I say, it has it's amazing backwards compatibility. But does it have we can list some games, but I think compared to some Nintendo, I think the Wii U's Nintendo library was far stronger than the Wii's
Yeah,
Nintendo library.
I agree. For all of the for as much of a punchline as the Wii U became, I think
We'll
its
talk
games were
about that.
actually
We'll
better.
talk about that in a
But
second. But
yeah,
so I would be
uh,
very much willing to chuck it in A and high A,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I
I
think
don't
that's
think it's
fair.
as good as the PS2.
no,
Personally,
not at all.
I'd put it there next to the SNES, to the left of the SNES, because it has the
Yeah.
SNES games on it. Think about it. There you go.
All
I
for
no,
one's birthday.
actually, I do want to say that the controls were fucking dog shit. I want to know who the fuck thought the great idea was.
Yeah.
Wiimote nunchuck, you want a controller, plug it in the Wiimote. Fucking the fuck, just make a, like, why did you, oh, now we'll make a wireless one that you don't have to plug into the Wiimote. Why did you make the fucker that plugs into the Wiimote? Like, it's just like, there's so much stupid Nintendo shit.
I don't understand why.
Ugh.
Okay, so they already put the GameCube controller ports like in the console. Why
Yeah.
don't you just make a little thing to plug, like, if you're gonna make a wired controller for like actual sensible
goes in
people who
that.
don't want to use the Wiimote and nunchuck, yeah, just give it a port, even if it's just one, so you could plug it in.
So you guys want to know something fun? The
What?
SNES Classic controller uses the same kind of port that the Wii's Classic controller uses to plug into your Wiimote.
It's not. What? Why?
Nintendo? I don't know.
Forgetting it. I actually, like, it's so stupid.
Goofy.
It's so stupid that it's like the main two options to play games is I got my Wiimote and I got my Wiimote on my lap while my controller's plugged into my Wiimote. It's like, who had that stupid idea?
Or if you wanted to be bold, you could hold the thing. You could hold just the Wiimote on its own sideways.
Oh, hell yeah. I played so much Mario Bros. New Soup on that bad boy.
Yeah. And
That's
I will
all my
say, like,
experiences with that.
the early days of the Wii's console of just developers having to force the motion controls into work somehow, that got really tiring really
Third
fast.
party on Wii was garbo.
Like-
it was genuinely, like, it was not good.
Like Donkey Kong-
Shovelware got renamed to WiiWare because of all the nonsense that they just threw on the shop.
Hell yeah.
Dude, pour one out for all the WiiWare games that have been lost to time.
Pour one out.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, we'll be
Boaz,
pouring
for
one out for all the
preserving what
Wii
you
U
could.
and 3DS ware that also goes away in a week. So, you know, it's like,
Oh.
we'll pour one out.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy Resi 4 Remake because it's the death of the Wii U also. Hope you have fun. Smiley face.
A soul for a soul.
Soul for a soul. Oh,
Oh
dear.
man.
So the
Right.
PS3,
Interesting console, PS3.
I never owned one. And Hunter's leaving.
So I get to decide. Hooray. The thing with the PS3 is we'll talk the PS3 and the Xbox One suffer from the same kind of problem. The only difference is Xbox gave up on the Xbox One and just kind of rode the wave and we're like we'll fix some stuff in the back end, but then we'll really go for Series X. Whereas PS3, it was a pain in the arse. No one liked it, but man, by the end of it, did people finally figure out what to do? And it's when like you finally
Yeah.
started getting modern games, like not in just the sensibilities of the franchises and stuff like that on the PS2, but it's like Last of Us 1 you could still play in 2013, and whether this is a sign of how we haven't come far in the past 10 years or not, still very much feels, even though it is clunky and looks a bit blurry, it very much still feels like the roots of what many modern games are doing this year when they come out. It's like, okay, you feel a lot of it. Naughty Dog were on fire for the PS3. Say what you want about Uncharted, whether you like it or not, but those games just hit, and it was like they came from Jak and Daxter, which was popular, but nowhere near as popular as say Ratchet. Like no one really cared, like talked about Jak, to being the biggest thing. Like people bought PlayStations for Uncharted. Like that was just a thing that happened, you know. It was an interesting period where there's so many fantastic games on PS3. Again, fully backwards compatible. The original model was backwards compatible with PS2 and PS1. Then they took it out of later models, but it still had PS2 emulation running on it, so you could buy certain PS2 games off of the store, and you had PS1 discs could be plugged in from the start.
And
they were on the shop.
You could buy on the store too.
Yeah.
For all of that, though, in general, now that we're talking about, this is my least favorite generation of games that I've lived through.
Yeah.
Personally.
Oh, definitely.
Oh man, like the PS3 has games that I really do love, but also I feel like compared to, I guess I could say the same thing about the Wii, but compared to the other generations of their respective like existence, I love so many more elsewhere. Like,
And here's the thing: is they run better on Xbox every time. It's like you've got your exclusives, but it's like if you want to talk about Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or Red Dead Redemption, one of my favorite games of all time, you can play them on PS3 and they're great games. That's how I played them for the most part.
yeah.
But the problem was every multi-plat game was an Xbox 360 game ported to PS3 and they always ran worse. And it's like, yeah, you could play Skyrim. You're going to have a better time on Xbox though because the game just runs better on Xbox than it does. So it's like,
Didn't the PlayStation version have that glitch where it remembered all of your open doors and it was like
yeah, and
breaking
the game
the game
died.
if you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a class. The PS3 is definitely my least favorite of the PlayStations, which is a shame because the middle generation of PS3, not the big fat boy and not the George Foreman grill, the middle child of the
Just the
PS3, the
slim one.
slim,
Yeah.
is potentially my favorite PlayStation design. I love the way that thing looks. It just I don't know why. I just like really like the way it looks because the PS4 was never a huge fan. Looks like a fucking oblong. PS5 is the UFO and the PS2 is like looks anemic like the slim does and the fat is fat. It's like it's the two stages. Like you got one opposed to the other. So it's like my favorite PlayStation is either the slim PS3 in terms of design or like the well, not even the PS1. It's definitely the slim PS3. I love the way that thing looks. The controller, I hate the DualShock 3. Can we be honest? Worst fucking controller. Garbo, hate it.
Worse than the 6-axis.
Yeah, they're like, well, no, it's the same thing, but it's like battery life was dog shit. Had a micro USB cable that was dog shit. It was tiny. The mushy R2 triggers. Oh my god, it's grim. I hate it. Why? No. That's
The
when I started
analog
getting
sticks
sick.
that I replaced onto my
They were gross. Why were they so long and gross? Like they were longer than the PS2 ones. Like why? It was like little antennas coming up. Hate it. No, gross. It's but again, it's
man.
like the games that did come out though. Like because like it's almost a Wii U situation in a lot of ways, where it's like there were some great games that are trapped there, like the Ratchet and Clank Future trilogy. Adore that thing. It's great. Uncharted's 1 through 3, they got ported, but they were great on that original console. Last of Us, phenomenal.
Up until 2 months ago, Dead Space, well, not specifically the PS3, but trapped in that generation.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid
if we're
4.
looking at it, if we're saying N64 and GameCube are B, then it's a C. But I think it's better than the NES and the Xbox.
Yeah,
that's where I would put it.
So, like, the games still hold it better than those for sure, I'd say.
And I feel like if stuff like The Last of Us and Uncharted were trapped on the PS3, we'd be having a bigger conversation about it being better. But you can play Uncharted and The Last of Us
it doesn't mean as much to us since we can play those. And
you can play the PS4 version of The Last of Us, you can play the PS5 version of The Last of Us, you can play the PS4 version on your PS5 with The Last of Us. You can play that fucker however you want. It's coming to PC.
Show version
you can play the TV
with
show
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal and
where
Bella
they remove
Ramsey.
the boring gameplay.
Make sure to tune in next week
But
where I'll be
Troy Baker.
Yeah, but be sure to tune in next week because I'll finally talk about that and review it with the Resident Evil stuff because it's finished now. I'll talk about that next week.
Dude, I'll watch it.
It's good. It's really good.
I don't know anything about Last of Us.
Dude, you should watch it. It's very good. Very good TV show.
I will.
Tune in next week to find out my thoughts fully on it.
This is season 4. We become a TV show podcast.
Hell yeah, dude.
This was the plan all along.
I haven't watched a TV show like front to back since Castlevania was done.
Damn.
But yeah, the stuff that is trapped isn't particularly like the high. If it was great, it got ported, and if it's a third party game, they were better elsewhere. And I love the PS3, but it's not good. It's not like it's the worst one by far.
Yeah.
360.
360. I didn't own this console. I didn't know anyone who owned this console. I have no input on this console.
Late into the generation.
My friend had one the whole time I had a PS3, and I was never motivated to want one or its successor.
I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Xbox's IP in terms of old IP, in terms of Gears of War, in terms of Halo, and in terms of Forza. Well, I love Forza Horizon. I do adore that game. I binged it for like 3 weeks. But I feel like it's another one of those ones like the NES where I have to take a step back, and even though I didn't really experience a
Yeah.
lot of it till the end of the generation, I don't click. It's a very, very, very important console. And it's like modern online was like this is where it came. Like online has not changed since the 360. That is where it, for better or for worse, the people
Yeah.
are still as horrendous as they were back on the 360. But it's like, and so many big IPs. It's like how Hunter said, they were on, like, you had games like Dead Space on PS3, but they were on 360 and they ran better. The original Mass Effect was initially an Xbox 360 exclusive. There was a lot of third-party games that just ended up being exclusives because they did not like running on the PS3. Originally, the Orange Box was bought to Xbox. It was bought
Yeah.
to Xbox and PS3, and Gabe Newell used to spout nonsense about how much he hated the PS3 so much. It was very fun times. But just like, again, Red Dead Redemption, Assassin's Creed, all these games were made for 360. And say what you want, I don't care about Halo, but fucking Halo 3 is on this kit. That's like everybody's favorite little child of that franchise. Forza Horizon started on the 360. There's a load of stuff. I think it's a very important console. And just like, I would definitely put it in B tier at least.
Yeah, at least B.
It's an extremely important. It's more important than the 64 and the GameCube in my eyes. But at the same time, I know you guys have experience with 64 and the GameCube and do not have experience with the 360.
Yeah,
It was also
not
backwards
outside of
compatible with the Xbox, so there
for all
were games
6
that you could
games
play.
that you
Yeah,
had for
all 6
that.
games that you could play. Like T-Walk, it ran better on 360, guys. It ran better on 360. I think it's definitely a B tier. Definitely a B tier,
Yeah.
at least.
I mean, you can decide where to drop it.
And 64 had Mario 64. Nah, 360 is more important. 360 was more important than the S64. I'm sorry. The PlayStation 1, it's like there was competition between the PlayStation 1 and 64 in terms of quality. PS3 had amazing games and it did have more sales in the end, but that entire generation felt like 360's generation, and you just lived through the wave, like you just kind of cruised through it, even when PS3 did end up selling more by a fraction from a couple of Last of Us sales near the end of the generation.
Yeah.
Wii U.
The Wii U.
Time
My
was
time
not
with
kind.
this console
think
was
this console's a
short-lived,
B.
but
A D?
that's harsh.
No,
Look,
I 100%
man,
agree. I 100% agree.
everything worth playing got ported to the Switch.
And I don't.
This console's irrelevant.
And here's the thing:
I guess that's
it's
true.
not only that, but the Wii U is a miserable experience. Like,
It
you
really
turn the
was.
fucker on, it takes 16 years. All the Mii's go, wah, wah, and then you gotta go through the gamepad. You got to get to settings. You have to wait through 6 million load screens, and it's all on different tabs. It's like, hope you've got your gamepad, fucker, because you can't go through the settings without the gamepad. What if my gamepad's not working? Where's the setting for that? Like, where do I go? What do I do? It's just like, it was slow. Everything was slow. Do you remember at launch where it took like 5 years to get into the eShop? Like, oh my,
Yep.
like, oh. And there's some great games, but like Cal said, all of them bar Xenoblade got ported to the Switch. It had Wii backwards compatibility, but everyone owned
And
a
that's
Wii.
it.
So it doesn't it's 10 people own a Wii U. Ironically, this was my first Nintendo home console ever. This is the one I chose to jump in on because Mario Kart 8 looked really fun.
It was funny. If the Wii U, my brother, I think it was the end of 2014 roundabout that he bought one, and then like the NX rumors started very early in the next year. So he's like, I hate everything. I bought this thing, and they're gonna cancel it already.
Because here's the thing.
Stupid.
It's the thing with, I think I don't even think this is a controversial opinion. I think Nintendo was making the best games in the Wii U era. I genuinely think that was like peak game creation for
Mhm.
them, because when you think that Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey were supposed to be Wii U games, so I add those kind of in, even though they
Breath of the
were
Wild still
cross-gen and Switch
was.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still was.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, but I mean, like, Odyssey was a Switch exclusive, but it was made for Wii U originally. So it was like,
Yeah.
they ported it's like, if you count those games, when you look at the Switch, I love the Switch. I think it's a great console. But Nintendo's been extremely hit and miss this generation. They've had some absolute bangers, they've had some absolute stenchers. It's like, for the most part, other than Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, which was absolute garbage on the Wii U, there's a couple of stinkers, but for the most part, it's like Yoshi's Woolly World, incredible, absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Yoshi's Crafted World, garbo. It's like there's just like there's so much good stuff. So it's like to me in my eyes as a console, it's still a D because all that good stuff's now on the Switch. But I don't
Yeah.
want to let Nintendo like there's like they had like three misses. It was like Mario Tennis, it was like Star Fox Zero. There was probably another one. I can't remember. What was another one? There's a couple of stinkers.
Did they have a Mario Party on the Wii U? That was probably
Yeah,
it.
the Mario Party. Yeah, they
Oh,
still
they
fucked up
definitely
Mario Party.
did.
Yeah, they still
Yeah,
fucked
they
up
was
still
the
Mario Party.
goofed that.
There was
There's-
the Animal Crossing Mario
Oh
Party
yeah,
as
Amiibo
well.
Festival. That was it. That was the third.
Oh
That was what I
yeah.
was thinking of. I own
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But they had a couple of stinkers. But like the Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, incredible games. Yoshi's Woolly World, incredible. Xenoblade X, very impressive for the shitty console that it's on. You had such
People
weird
really
stuff
love
like
Donkey
Shin
Kong.
Megami Tensei Fire Emblem. Like what the fuck
Oh
was
yeah,
that?
that one.
Obviously the Wii U ports of Wind Waker HD, Wind Waker HD, I
Twilight
fucking love. Twilight
Princess.
Princess HD, great stuff.
Soon to be Switch ports.
If ever, like, I honestly think if next year's Switch is like final year, they'll come out at the fucking end of it to go lol. By the way, Switch 2 is not backwards compatible, so you begged, and this is your punishment. You get them on a new system for 2 months, and then you'll beg again.
Yeah.
And then, like Kyle said, talk about backwards compatibility, all the eShop Classic titles.
They
know?
did have a really good eShop,
Really
giving
good
us
eShop.
access to Game Boy and DS as few games as they offered for those. I think it was a super cool inclusion.
I'm feeling a bit harsh putting in D. I feel like low C.
That's what I was saying.
I feel like low
Yeah.
C. I repair. Is it
Yeah.
better than the X? It's better than the Xbox. Fuck off. Right. In
Yeah.
between the Xbox and the NES.
They both had stupid controllers with the gamepad, and Xbox's thick boy.
Xbox, yeah, and Xbox fans, don't be mad at me. Be mad at the Duke because we didn't mention how shit the Duke is. And also, they cancel Psychonauts, so this is what they get. I am now a
Yeah.
recent Psychonauts stan, and that was unacceptable. I can't believe they bought them out. That's funny. Anyway, PS4.
PS4.
What a console when you look back at it. I mean, it's never, someone
Yeah.
needs to pull it off life support, but what a console.
It's still technically not done, but my time
Yeah.
with it's finished, and it was great.
Dude, like,
It was a good console.
it dominated. Nintendo was in the shitter for the start of this generation. Xbox was in the shitter. It was PlayStation's world for a good, from
Yeah, it was.
2013 to 2015, 16. Actually, probably until like 2017 when the Switch started picking up. It was PlayStation's
Yeah.
world. We were just living in it.
Basically, like,
And
and
it's
even
like-
then, it's not like once 2017 came around, I feel like PlayStation didn't stop being good. Nintendo at least started getting better, and then Xbox also had Game Pass at the time, so third party stuff was worth looking into on that system.
It's like when you look at the quality of the games, where it's like, you look at stuff nowadays and you see all these rush launches and you see so much shit come out unfinished and rushed and garbage. Like the past fucking 3 Halos have done that, where they just they're extremely rushed. Nintendo has released a load of Scarlet and Violet. They do rush shit out, and it's like PlayStation for the most part. Yeah, they do release the same fucking open world third person RPG light thing every single time. But apart from Days Gone, which is the outlier in this,
They were
Every time
almost
Sony
finished,
released
at
an
least.
exclusive over this generation, it was like actually Days Gone, Order 1886. Before people fight on that one
Oh,
as well, don't forget the Order
oh,
1886.
I forgot about that one.
I don't think I knew what that was.
It was like 2 hours. Don't
It
worry
was
about it.
like, yeah, it was a 2 hour
Okay,
game that was out at launch with a couple of other things.
But it's
sounds
like,
good.
from Infamous Second Son all the way to Ghost of Tsushima, there was very rarely a miss. There was like Order 1886, Drive Club, and probably Days Gone, but people still have Days
People
Gone still
still
has its
like Days
fans.
Gone. I
It was
think
just a bit
Days Gone
buggy.
was still all right.
It
You
just didn't
know?
come out in the best shape. If it had another couple of months in the oven, I think the reception on that would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
They just, and again, third party on all cylinders. Like there's like some incredible games in the past couple of years, and it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Also, like, indies rose to prominence. Well, they started out, you could get some on the PS3 era, but I feel like they really rose to prominence in this past console
it
generation,
was also
and that's where I played
the
a
resurgence
lot
of the
of great games.
JRPG.
Yeah.
JRPG is, as much as Yoshi P hates that term. I'm sorry, Yoshi P. I failed you once again. Um, the
I don't mean it's an
JRPGs, as much
insult,
as
I
Kyle would
promise.
not, as much as Kyle would, Kyle, close your ears. I don't want to scare you, but JRPGs had a really rough time in the early to like mid 2010s, where they were very much going downhill in terms of popularity. Like other than like Nintendo
Yeah,
made stuff, they were going
Yeah.
off a cliff. And then there was the 2016-17 bump of like Nier and all this other stuff that just kind of
Near
blew up,
Persona
and
5,
the whole
FF15.
FF15, like the whole kind
yeah,
of genre, kind
Dragon
of,
Quest.
as much as Hunter hates FF15, FF15 kind of was the start of that tidal wave in a way, where it's just like JRPGs exploded again. And it's like now to a point where Xbox is going out of their way to go and get them for Game Pass and bring them over and port them and stuff like that. It's the whole Yakuza thing. Yakuza
Yeah.
blew up on the PS4, and now you can't escape that bastard. I'm playing it right now again, but you can't escape it.
Majima everywhere, but in real life.
Dude, talk about Yakuza
Watch out,
2
Ethan, he's busting through your wall.
Yeah, he's. We'll talk about Yakuza 2
He
next week as well. It's
bursts through the mirror
fantastic.
behind you.
But there's just
Oh,
like
man.
they, and so much, like, they just went out. There's also the generation when where PlayStation started going on their nostalgia in a way as well, where they were like, they made partnerships with Activision to bring back Crash. They,
Yeah.
did a reboot of Ratchet and Clank, for better or for worse, but they went back to Ratchet and Clank. They went to Kojima to make Death Stranding. There were so many E3s during this era where people watched E3 for Sony and they were like, I guess I'll watch Xbox a couple of hours before because I've got nothing better to do.
Like 2015 and 2016, I specifically were the ones that were like great for PlayStation's E3 conferences.
Dude, like genuinely, some of the best conferences. I miss. I don't think people understand how good conferences used to be. Like 2015, 16, 17 PlayStation were
Yeah.
like on fire. Like that's why I miss E3. I don't miss E3
Yeah.
in any other way. I just miss having those big hype moments, because even digital events,
Mhm.
I don't think they hit the same. I don't think it hits the same as watching a live stream of like this whole
No,
massive
no.
audience. And Sony for the last couple of years had orchestras where they had the live soundtrack. It was like, it was an event, man. Like,
I really liked their PSX stuff that they were doing for those
yeah, the
couple of
place.
years too.
Yeah, definitely. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's interesting, right? Because it's like the PS5 is a better PS4. You can play all but 6
Yeah.
PS4 games. But
Yeah.
I still think, in a way, PS5 has not had its time to actually show us what it's capable of. It's had a handful of
Yeah,
games.
we don't have the full picture of this one. It'll be a different
like,
story when we talk about the Switch, because that's been out for 6 years, but
I feel like we
know.
look like Sony fanboys if we do this, but I genuinely do think the PS4 will go down as like an S tier console, where it just was the thing to have, there was so
Yeah.
much good stuff. I don't think there's any genre of like fan that didn't have something to play on PS4.
Yeah, even my friend
Yeah.
who, the generation before, he was the guy with the Xbox 360 that always tried to get me to get an Xbox 360, and I never cared.
All my Xbox 360 friends
Eventually,
joined me
he
to
got
go
a
to PS4.
PS4.
Literally
Yeah.
everybody went over to PS4.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Now, is it better than the PS2? That's a hard one. I still think PS2 is
I
goated.
still think no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But
I
I also
think
think
that
it's because
for
it's too
my
close. I feel like give me 5 years, give me 10 years where I feel a nostalgia towards PS4.
that too, like yeah, for my own personal thing, like the PS2 is so important to where my tastes for games went.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
100%.
all the PS4 stuff is very recent memory stuff for a lot
Yeah.
of it.
I also
So
want to say DualShock 4 was the best controller that PlayStation had made up to that point. Fantastic controller. I
Super
absolutely
comfy.
adore the DualShock 4. And also, I want to say the PS4 UI was great, but man, was it slow as balls. Like, I hated how sluggish that thing, especially late gen. Oh my god, like, final years of playing a theme on the PS4 in the final 2 years of it being a thing. Oh my god, it chugged, bro. It was like, like
trying to open the store.
yeah, and load times were a massive pain in the ass on that generation, but you know, it is what. Dude, Xbox One, I
Xbox
am
One.
100% willing to put that in D tier. That was a big fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
that is.
yeah. They messed it up and they spent the whole generation. Well, they gave up for most of it, and then
And then Phil
you
Spencer
know,
came on and he turned the ship
yeah,
around. And you gotta give respect to Phil Spencer because he definitely did turn the whole ship around. And by the late gen, I didn't want an Xbox, but I was like, I respect him for all this stuff that he's doing.
mhm.
Backwards
Yeah.
compatibility,
By
Game
the late
Pass.
generation, I was thinking, okay, maybe the next one will be worth getting, though.
And I got the
Not,
next
ha,
one. It worked
yeah,
for me.
Are you
yeah.
still thinking that, Hunter?
Eventually, maybe.
If they start pumping out exclusives, which they hopefully are this
Yeah.
year. But like there was nothing for Xbox. Like there's the thing is I go back on it, like I look at Xbox One games and I'm like I've barely played any Xbox One games on my Series X. It's like because all the good stuff came to PS4 and I played it there for the most part.
Yeah, all the things that made me sad, that occasionally made me sad that I didn't have an Xbox, like Cuphead or whatever, eventually went somewhere where I could play it.
And the one problem with the game with like they started doing day and date PC and Xbox was I could
Mhm.
play the stuff on PC. Was the
Yeah,
main
it's
problem.
like, yeah. And that's like now that I have a decent computer, that's what I'll be dealing with as far as do I want to actually, even when they do start putting out games, it'll be like, do I want to get a console or will I just
You see, my PC's
deal
like
with
4 years old now, so it's fine. But I have started being like,
yeah.
oh, do I want to get a new PC at some point?
Remember at the launch of this console when these clowns decided that a Kinect was going to be built into the thing?
$500, dude. My favorite,
Yeah, that too.
my favorite video of like 2013 is the "Here's how we share games on PS4" video of
Oh
Shuhei
my god.
Yoshida and what was his name? Adam. I can't remember what his name. His name's Adam, but I don't remember what his second name was. But it was just like it's just like it's just like one of them had like a copy of Killzone Shadow 4 and they just passed the copy to the other person and just went, "Here you go," and that was the end of the video. It was just like thanks because of the whole online DRM thing. It was like it was so stupid. It was such a fuck up. It genuinely was. The PS3 was a fuck up. But I think the Xbox
I think
Xbox
the
is still
Xbox,
suffering from the
yeah,
Xbox One.
it didn't eventually win in the end as far as sales. It didn't redeem
And Series
itself as
S and
far as
X are doing a
library.
lot better, but it's still an uphill climb for them, which is crazy
Yeah.
when they were once at the top. But yeah, I think that is truly out of all of these. I never thought any of them would go to F, but it's like that's the
Yeah.
closest you get is the Xbox One, man. What a fucking tragedy of a console.
I couldn't imagine living through that generation with
On
only
an
the
Xbox One.
Xbox. Yeah.
I think that's how in the recent years console rivalry has kind of sparked up again and it's getting really annoying. I
Yeah.
genuinely think
Yeah.
that I think it brewed from the fact that some people sat on Xbox One for that many years and coercely Xbox has started gaining a bit of popularity again, so it's caused the two sides to just like, Xbox fans have been molding for like 5 years and PlayStation fans are bitter that Phil Spencer's a decent there's a decent like company leader who is bringing them back, and it's just like bang,
Yeah.
like collision course. Everyone's a shithead again, and it's like, oh great,
Stupid.
it's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm I'm gonna do this out of order slightly because I feel like we should save PS5. I feel like we should get the Series X out of the way because it's the least exciting one of the three.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're also the only one who
Because I'm the
can
only one
really
that has
speak on it.
one, and I
Yeah.
would give it out of all these a solid B tier. And I will. It was at bottom of the B tier probably, but I'll tell you why it's a solid B tier. I'll put the thing up so that everybody on video can see it.
Rush.
It's because Xbox is getting its traction back. It's a great console.
Yeah.
The UI's great. Game Pass is fantastic. It's backwards compatible with Xbox One, 360, the selected 360 and base Xbox games. You can play Red Dead Redemption 1 in 4K on your Series X. You can stream Red Dead Redemption in 720p blurry on PS3 with PlayStation Plus Premium, blah 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 garbage package, right? It's just like the thing about Xbox is if you were in Xbox's ecosystem already, it's like the perfect console for you because you've got all your stuff and you can just carry it on. And there's not this PS4 stuff to PS5 where it's like, does it work? I don't know. Dumb delivery where you've got the wrong game installed and you have to then go and find the patch, and it's not a patch, you dum-dum. You gotta reinstall the entire game again, you silly boy. And it's like, everything works better on Xbox than it does on PlayStation. It's a really solid console, and I think with exclusives, it can easily be the best Xbox. I think if it gets some exclusives under its belt, start talking when Starfield and Hellblade and Avowed and Fable stock showing up, all those kind of games, then
Siege of Dawn.
When Double Fine has a game out and I start caring a bit more, that's when I'll be like, ooh, maybe you'll be a bit of a.
They did just have Hi-Fi Rush this year.
Hi-Fi Rush was fantastic. They are this year. I feel like people are sleeping.
Is it when the dominoes finally fall?
It's starting. I think people are people are still kind of sleeping, and I'm like, hang on. They've had Hi-Fi Rush. Forza's out in the first half of the year. They've got Redfall. They've got Starfield coming out in September supposedly, which I think is a November release date. I think that's going to get pushed again, but you know, it's got to get pushed one more time for the fans. It's a Todd Howard classic. It's a tradition.
It would be funny if
they've got to show something at E3.
It would be funny if it got pushed back into November 11th, like where they.
Dude, I really hope so because I might be away. I'm away during Starfield. I'm like, I bought an Xbox for Starfield. Of course, I'm away for the release of Starfield. That's the irony right there. But I think it's a great console. It's just very boring at the moment. It's a very middle of the line console. It's
boring but practical.
Nothing that defines it right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Game Pass is a very great value. And if you do have an Xbox and that's your only console, you get to pay like $120 a year, and you get basically all the Xbox exclusives and these other games that if you're patient enough, you just get like really good games every month. It's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Switch.
Here's the thing with the Switch.
That was a big sigh.
It's because at the start of the Switch's life cycle, and for the first 3 years of the Switch's life cycle, it's incredible. It is an incredible console. It's just, I feel
it's my
like...
favorite Nintendo console.
Same, but it's like... It's an S-tier console, but I just get sad...
It's fallen into A-tier.
I still think it's an S-tier console. I still believe it's an S-tier console. It's just, I feel like it could have been an SSS-tier console if Nintendo just fucking tried. Themes, good UI. Why the fuck is the eShop still garbage 6 years later? Not even music, dude. Why the music's in the fucking OS? They just never turned it on. And just the games. There are so many incredible games. Obviously, Breath of the Wild. We're getting Tears of the Kingdom. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 and Torna. All fantastic
and
RPGs.
1.
Yeah, and 1 is on there
the whole
as well.
trilogy.
It also showed up. Fire Emblem. Say what you want about Three Houses, but I adore Three Houses, and a lot of people do. Fire Emblem Engage satisfied the 5 people on the planet that like gameplay but despise story. Good for them. You know, you had some great platforms. Mario Odyssey, absolutely great. The first year of Switch is iconic. The fact that they just were like, bangs, Breath of the Wild, bang,
2017
Mario Kart,
is
bang,
like seen as one of the
Splatoon
best
2,
years
bang,
in gaming.
Yeah, Mario plus
and
Rabbids
a
Kingdom
lot of it
Battle.
is because of the Switch.
And I feel like the problem with Switch 1 was it had an incredible first year, and then ever since, it's had fine years, and there's been great games, you know? And also Nintendo has this problem where they just They release stuff and then they fix it 2 months to a year later, and then it's like, imagine what Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was already a really successful game, and they made so much money off of it. But imagine how much better it would have been if we had got New Horizons when all the DLC and the Happy Homes like Paradise thing was there, and everything was just one, and it was a full game like New Leaf was. And it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Or what if Scarlet and Violet actually got longer than got another year in the oven, and they were I don't understand why they couldn't have just been like, hey guys, Legends Arceus is the Switch game, is the Pokemon game for this year, and then next year we're gonna go out with a big bang of fall 2023, Scarlet and Violet, DLCs in the spring, and then spring and summer, and then fall is the new Nintendo console. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's just like so many. They've gotten lazy. Nintendo have gotten so lazy in the past couple of years, where it's like, I wish they try. Whenever Nintendo does well, they don't try, and then it's like, it just kind of makes me sad, because they do make great games. There's some incredible games on Switch, and it's still an incredible console, but it makes me mad because I'm like, oh, it could have been it could be so much more still. But
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is like this is a console that hasn't even while it hasn't lived up to its maximum potential is still the best thing they've made. It's insane.
It's like it's a bizarre situation to me where it's like I said, so much good and so much bad, and it's like the good far outweighs the bad. Where
like they gave me Breath of the Wild. I don't care how many mediocre Mario sports games they throw in with it. It's not gonna hurt my feelings that much.
I think the main problem is nothing comes fully done anymore.
Yeah.
But like Xenoblade, or something that's slightly
or something smaller like Metroid Dread was a complete
but
experience.
Even smaller games aren't getting finished. Mario Tennis is not a big fucking game. Yeah, it wasn't finished.
That's true.
Mario Strikers.
Mario Strikers still isn't finished, but they're considering it done. It's like it's bizarre when you go from that first year. I think that's the difference is, if we had got ARMS this year, it not like when ARMS came out, it was a bit like the same with Splatoon 2. It was a bit low on arenas and heroes, but it still felt like a complete product. I feel like you would have still have had like 3 heroes less and 3 stages less in ARMS, and there would have been like online wouldn't have worked if it had come out now. Or it's like it's Splatoon 3, such a missed opportunity. There were so many lessons that could have been learned, and they just made a better Splatoon 2, but all the issues that I had with Splatoon 2 are still in Splatoon 3. And it's like, it's just, there's so much.
Now you can go back to Inkopolis.
Yeah. The magic's kind of...
You took that one off the Wii U, too.
The magic's kind of gone with the Switch, where it's like, I think it's fantastic, and it has some of my favorite games of all time, literally. Technically, if we're thinking about it, it has my top 3 favorite games. All 3 of them are on the Switch, because Persona got ported. So technically all 3 of my favorite 3 games of all time are on the Nintendo Switch. But
With
it's
the
still
exception of the Metal Gear Solid games, it has like a lot of the upper echelon of my favorite games too. Because I could play Devil May Cry on there.
And
I
it's
could
a
play
perfect place for
Transistor on there. I
indies,
could
dude. It's
play
a perfect
Zelda.
place for indies as well.
It is still a great place for indies. Like that's what I end up playing on it a lot of the time, even still.
And I think that's why I keep asking for a next gen Switch. Is not because I'm necessarily sick of the potato graphics at times or the sluggish performance. It's mainly because I feel like that's the only way we're going to get Nintendo to try again, is if they're convincing us to buy a new system, because they know everyone owns a Switch and everyone's going to buy the next Mario game or the next all that Pokemon expansion and stuff like that. I feel like they just need to kick up the bum to start trying again.
It's not that dissimilar to how like I feel like the Wii had a really long taper off for the end of its cycle, where like there was a maybe 2 notable games each year towards the end of that.
And it's like I say, I love it. It's great, but it feels like a particularly long cycle. And I don't know if it's because usually Nintendo cycles are 5 years, and this one's going to be like 7. But it feels
also
particularly long.
That they killed the Wii U early.
They killed the Wii U early. That doesn't help. And then also, it's like I say though, it's like it's even getting to the thing where it's like, hey, I'm really looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a fucking Breath of the Wild shill, dude. I will be getting Tears of the Kingdom on day one. I will have my amiibo and my stupidly priced, probably special edition sitting right next to me that has a 50 quid art book that's not worth the price, but I'll buy it anyway because I'm a fucking shill. And I'll be sitting here and I'll be having a great time. But I am also, like, weirdly not as excited as I should be. And it's like, it's weird because I don't think it's the game's fault because I know the game's going to be great. But it's almost like Nintendo's like, you know, you're gonna buy Zelda, so I'm not even gonna make you excited for it. You're just gonna, it's just gonna happen one day. And I'm like, I feel towards Zelda the way I feel Nintendo feels towards the Switch, where it's just like, we're riding. You're gonna be there. We're riding. We're coasting. It's still an S tier console in my opinion, but
Yeah.
low S tier by the way, lowest of the three, I would say
Yeah.
personally.
Me too. Yeah. I think
Sorry, change the screen.
the other two are still a bit
I
stronger.
100%
I f-
think it's a fab console.
The PS4
It's just
almost has the reverse console where it took like a couple years to get started, and then once it started,
I'm not gonna
it
be.
didn't
I'm gonna
stop
be
until
honest
it
with
died.
you. I kind of prefer that way because I loved the first year of the
Yeah.
Switch. It felt great, especially after the Wii U drought where we got fuck all for like 2 years. But
Yeah.
I felt like you paid for it because it's similar to the problem that I think PS5 has right now, where you had two Insomniac games from the get go. You had Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog had just come off of games on the PS4. They were the final two on the PS4, and it's like you've just had a Sony Santa Monica game, and
Returnal.
so it's like it feels like now you're just sitting there going, I know I've got Spider-Man this year, but that's about it. I don't know if we're getting anything else this year, and I
we
feel
don't
like
even know what PlayStation's up to right now.
Exactly. And it's like, I feel like that's the problem when you front load your console a bit too much. And I really hope that when it comes around, I obviously want games to come out for the new console, but I hope they take a kind of PS5 approach where it is just, it's backwards compatible. We've done a load of patches to make games run better. And here's a couple of heavy hitters in the first 4 months. We're not going to chuck Mario. We're not going to chuck the main Zelda for the console for another 5 years. The main Mario Kart that you were already playing, but we're going to make it run for another decade. And like big Splatoon, and like we're not going to chuck all these big things because you had Smash for 1 year, you had Animal Crossing for another. It's like it's just the drought. Just it's uneven.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel even. But it's mainly nitpicking. I do love you, Switch. I do love you. I own 2 of them for some fucking reason. I do like it. It's a good console.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Joy-Cons can go fuck
This
themselves.
is first console I bought on my own dollar, besides the
Oh.
PlayStation 4 I replaced. So
I mean,
it'll always
technically,
be
yeah,
special to
same
me
with
in that
me.
case.
Same with me. It was also FOMO. I literally like got the last one in the store. I literally was like, oh, I want this thing now.
I waited until my birthday the year it
Dude,
came
I
out.
don't know. I don't
was
know if
like,
that's
I've
to
got a
do.
job. I'm buying my own birthday present.
Dude,
Good
I don't know if
times.
that's to do with like my OCD or some like undiagnosed ADHD shit or something, but it is. I've very much noticed that I'm like, I don't need that thing. I don't need that thing. As soon as it's out, my like brain's just like, ooh, shiny. I need the thing. Like I buy the PlayStation 5, I buy the Series X, and it's like, do I need this? It's like after not buying the PSVR 2, it's like I don't need it. There's still a tiny little thing in my brain going, yeah, but shiny thing, it's probably gonna
You don't
do
need it,
terribly.
Ethan.
I don't need it, and I'm not gonna buy it. But in my brain, I'm still like, yo, but the shiny, you know? I'm like, ooh.
Ooh, you right brain.
And I will tell you that for a fact. I will be there for Switch 2. Whatever the Switch 2 is, I will be there.
Whatever
Hello,
it is.
day one, salut. I'll be sitting there on my home screen with no backwards compatibility in a single game again, and I'll be like, this is great.
And still no themes.
Can't wait for the Mario
it'll
Kart
be-
8 port in a month.
Yeah, it'll be no backwards compatibility. Single game, which is just going to be a ported version of Tears of the Kingdom.
That's what you think. It'll be a
I'll be
Mario
like, yeah,
game. Don't worry. It'll be
party.
It'll be Metroid Prime 4.
Party.
It'll be Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4. Yeah.
Finally, let's wrap this. Let's get home. It's the PS5, the UFO.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting one, this. Similar to the
I'll
Series
say
X,
this.
I think it's really hard to place this right now because we're so early in the life cycle.
I'll say this for the PS5 right now. As the last member of the group to get one, I still don't think I needed to get one.
But is that hear me out here? Is that because the generation's refusing to end because of COVID and supply issues? Here's my the problem with the PS5 is they're not making these PS4 games. Well, they weren't still making these PS4 games because they were like, hey guys, we just want a really long taper this time. It was genuinely because, oh shit, COVID, supply issues, all of that. If COVID never happened, PS4 would have ended in 2020, probably last year. We wouldn't have got
probably last
Resi
year.
4 remake for PS4 wouldn't have been a thing. Definitely. It's like
Mhm.
it's just this super long taper that's just refused to die is I think the problem. Where it's like, something that was originally going to be a exclusive like Horizon and God of War, which I think pre-pandemic would have 100% have been only on PS5. Pay up,
Yeah.
Sonny Jim. That's the problem, because it's like we've had very few exceptions of games where it's like this truly feels next gen, and I still don't think it saddens me that my favorite moment from this generation where I was like, this is so sick, is fucking Astro's Playroom. It's still Astro's Playroom. Like, there's
Yeah.
been cool moments where I was like, oh, the rain in Returnal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, like, there's been no moment since literally, I remember playing Astro's Playroom on day one, and there was a massive fucking smile on my face for the entire 4 hours that I played it because of all the stupid shit the controller was doing and just how fun that game was. And I was like, this is incredible. And then every other game just feels like an enhanced PS4 game. And it's like, there's some good games, don't get me wrong. Forbidden West is fantastic. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I had a brilliant time playing. Demon's Souls Remake is fantastic. There's good stuff. Spider-Man Miles Morales was a great little mini game that was better than the main one in a lot of ways because it fucking
Yeah.
trimmed the fat. It was, there's some good stuff. But we just don't have a reason to be excited. It's just a better PS4. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I'm happy to fucking chuck the PS4 in the bin in terms of UI and in terms of load times. It's felt more like a convenient step than a generational step. It's made
Yeah,
everything
which is
easier
where I
and
think
better.
and I think that's where we're at with console generations going forward for the foreseeable future. Is it's nothing's gonna feel as gargantuan of a leap as the jump to 3D or even the jump between PS1 and N64 to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
PS2 and GameCube. Like that getting games to go from Mario looking how he did in Mario 64 to how he did in Sunshine is crazy.
And I'm
And
feeling it's like, yeah, I feel like PlayStation especially is in a place where they've got sequelitis at the moment, where every game's a sequel to a PS4 game, so you're not feeling that kind of jump of like God of War Ascension to God of War 2018 or
yeah,
Killzone Shadowfall to Horizon Zero Dawn, where they take a completely different leap of faith, and it's like we got God of War Ragnarok, which was very much made to be a sequel to God of War 2018, which was a PS4 game and using the same engine. Horizon Forbidden West was the same way. And it's like Spider-Man 2 is technically Sony's first big PS5 exclusive. But I
yeah,
also don't see it looking that much different to Miles Morales on PS5. I don't see I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm blown away when I see the gameplay and it looks like incredible and they've done a load of new stuff. And I hope they do because Insomniac's great. But also, it's just sequelitis. There's nothing really new, and the stuff that is new feels extremely cross generational because it has been.
yeah.
It's weird. I just like
But
it's a solid console. I think everything it does, it excels at great. I have a few
yeah,
bits, like a few quips with it, and like it's just like really basic, annoying stuff. To be honest, like why does Sony's UI have to be either extremely convenient or extremely fucking arbitrary? It's like there's no in between. Why does the search through everything? Why does like it's just like why do you put everything in the top right and go, oh, just press triangle? But just like there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, it just doesn't. It's fine, it does the job, but
yeah,
it's like it's a solid like so far. I don't know. It's hard to
I'd
say.
give it, I'd give it a B so far. Like with
I'd give it a high B just because it has all the
Yeah.
it's like the best version of a PS4. Like that's where I'd put it is a high B, like right there. I'm still waiting to be wowed.
yeah, it has the potential. It has the potential to be like when we're done with this generation, maybe we'll look back at it and be like, oh man, That was an A tier console.
And it's why it
Or an
really
S
annoys
tier
me when you're
console.
hearing rumors like and stuff and people fucking rumbling about PS5 Pro, and it's like we haven't
Oh
even
my
seen
god. Game journos need to
PS5.
be stopped.
We haven't even seen
I'm so
PS5
sick of this
potential.
pro version of everything.
Dude, it's so annoying. It's like I've not seen a proper PS fucking 5 game yet. I've seen
Yeah.
Demon Souls is a remake. That is great. It looks fantastic, but also it's a remake of a PS3 game. I've not seen anything that was truly built for PS5 that feels like a PS5 thing. Definitely was not a fucking exclusive. You could make that on PS4. You fucking frauds. Okay, fucking frauds. And I'm hoping either Spider-Man is. I'm hoping there's an unannounced Sony IP that really wows me in the next year or so. It could also, I can also, and I 100% do see this happening. It could also be Xbox that does it first. I would not be surprised.
Maybe.
I would not be surprised if when we get to see Starfield gameplay in fucking June for E3, where I'm like, oh, this does actually look like a next gen thing, because it is a next gen thing, or the new Forza Motorsport that is next gen exclusive or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's cool, because like even Gran Turismo had a PS4 counterpart, and don't get me wrong, it looks incredible on PS5, but also it's like still tethered. It's crazy. It's weird. When will it end? Place your bets. I'm hoping this year's the final year, to be honest. I really am.
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor. It's your call, dude. That's a game we should be looking at, because that one's not tethered. But it's whether it's
Oh,
a
yeah,
Gotham
that's
Knight
right.
situation where it just wasn't optimized, or if it's very good.
I think
We'll
the
see.
Jedi Survivor will probably be optimized better than Gotham Knights.
Oh, that's not a
Yeah.
fucking contest, dude. That is not a contest.
Like
can-
that was one of the things the Jedi did. Like I feel like they took to heart the things that people were saying about Fallen Order being kind of jank. And hopefully we could probably save that for another day. Talk about that a couple weeks from now. Hopes and dreams, Star Wars.
No, it's like I'm just waiting for it, dude. Just waiting for it. Come on. Can we have next gen yet? I've been sitting here for 2 years. I just want to play a game that was as fun as Astro's Playroom. Is that too much to fucking ask? Like, genuinely. Where's Team Asobi? That is how PlayStation saves this year for me. Is if they go, guess who's back, and they show me an Astro bot, and if it's on VR, I don't care. I will go and get the shiny. Just please, Team Asobi, come back. I miss you. Team Asobi, my beloved, please come back. I need you. I need you to make a fun game for me. I'm desperate. Anyway, that's enough of this. That's our show. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go over the tier list. Oops, that's wrong. Even blur that.
Recap it.
Yeah, even blur that. Someone put a timestamp for that, just in case there was something incriminating on there. And by incriminating, I mean personal info. You know what it's like. I show my Google homepage for the people that are wondering in the audio version. There's nothing on it. It's just in case the Amazon account. You know how it is. Anyway, at the bottom, D tier, Xbox One, rightfully where it belongs. In the C tier, from bottom to top, we've got the original Xbox, the Wii U, the NES, and then the PS3 at the top of C tier. In B, at the bottom of B tier, we currently have the Xbox Series X, then the GameCube, then the N64. That'll be a fun one. Then the Xbox 360, and then the PS5. Do you know what? That feels wrong. No, it's
You
fine.
think it should get bumped
No.
up?
No, not up. I think I was like 360 is quite important, but fuck it, fuck you 360. It's fine.
That's the spirit.
Then in A tier we have got the PlayStation 1, the SNES, followed by the Wii at the top, and then at the S tier we have got the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, and then sitting at the top is the King of Kings, the PlayStation 2.
Sure is, man.
God, what a
It sure
good
is,
console
man.
the PS2 was.
Dude, owning a PS2 during the PS3 generation was like the best thing too, because GameStop was always doing these like buy one get two, buy two get one free, or buy one get one half off things. So my brother would always be like going to get a PS3 game, and for my birthday or Christmas, I'd be getting like just 3 PS2 games for my hand-me-down system. Be like, oh man,
Oh, yeah.
Onimusha 2, Mortal Kombat, and DMC. This is amazing.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, that's it for this one. We're done. I don't know what to say really. It's weird now. I don't know. I never thought we'd get this far. I never planned an outro or anything like that. But hey, what are your thoughts and opinions on consoles? Let us know in the comments. Go to hotgamersonly.com. You can contact us. Let us know that we're pieces of shit for not putting the
Let us
GameCube
know
high.
how bad our opinions are.
That'd be great if the
Yeah.
first thing that happens with the contact form is just someone berating us for terrible opinions. It'd be like, yeah, thank you.
Elden Ring is better.
Elden Ring is better. I swear to God. But hey,
Some old man is gonna come harass us about our lack of Commodore 64 input or something like that.
we
They're
didn't
like,
put
sorry,
Sega.
man,
We've
I'm
already
not
annoyed
made
the
of.
Sega fans, so it's like,
Yeah,
and that's just because it
never
wouldn't be
had
fair.
one. Sorry.
Never had one.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair. We're sorry, Sega fans. And hey, if you're
We
here,
barely had Xboxes.
I didn't. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's fine. It's fine. I forgot to fucking promote that we are starting the highlights channel again in the announcements. And just like, oh yeah, that's happening. I also forgot another thing. Should I say it now? I'll say it now. Fuck it. This is
why
just for
not?
the OGs. But I feel like you two are gonna. You two are gonna. If we get to 180 subs before Friday, I will play Resident Evil 4 for the first impressions. There you go. Challenge
Oh, cool.
accepted. Challenge accepted. Get us to 180 subs. You two are gonna have to spread this message because there's no way that the majority of the audience is getting anywhere close to an hour and 45 minutes into this episode. But hey,
Very true.
challenge accepted. You got 5 days. Get us to 180 subs. I'll play Resident Evil 4 for the first impressions. No bullshit either. I will do it. I won't pussy it.
Cool.
I'll do it.
Nice.
Cool.
No Johns. Good luck. Challenge accepted.
I can't wait for Resi 4 to be the first game of this year that all three of us have got impressions for.
You gotta get the subs first, mate. I'm not. Yeah. Good luck.
That's true.
Good luck. You two sitting there making ults. Anyway, I haven't done the. I've not done the.
that.
I've not done the promo. So I'm not going to do it because it's the old one. I need to fix it because of the new UI. But you know, you can go to the website at hotgamersonly.com to check out all the updates. You can go follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/hotgamersonly for all of that jazz. If you want to go and subscribe, if you're on podcasts, especially to see me get scared because I do not play horror games, you can go to youtube.com/hotgamersonly and subscribe there. We'd really appreciate it. And just search for Hot Gamers Only on your favorite podcast services if you want to go and listen to us there. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you have the attention of a TikTok generation person, then you can go to the HGO Clips channel, where we will hopefully start posting stuff more frequently. There will be no Subway Surfers to the side. I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with our faces. That's a deep cut that I don't think you two are gonna get. I'll have to explain that one off the podcast. Anyway, someone will get it. I'll explain it later. Anyway, that's been our show. Thank you so much for joining us for Season 4's premiere. We'll be back next week to talk about Resident Evil 4, apparently The Last of Us, and I'll probably also talk about Yakuza Kiwami 2, because that shit's dope. We'll talk about all of that next week. But until then, have an amazing week, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.